Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Quick Conversations. My name is Jerry L. Johnson, and this week we'll be sitting down with Sean Glover, who is the Director of Royalty Administration for Sound Exchange, as well as the legendary DJ Jazzy Jeff. And so this week, Sean and Jeff will be talking to us about how Jeff was able to overcome COVID-19, as well as their thoughts on the current state of the music industry and where we need to go from here, not only as a business, but as a culture. And so, as a quick reminder, this will be recorded via Zoom for playback on Facebook, and any additional recording of this program without the express written permission of the Recording Academy is prohibited. So, thank you so much again, Jeff and Sean. Go ahead and take it away.
What's up, Jeff? How you feel, brother?
Man, I'm blessed. I am so blessed. How are you?
Man, I am here. Blessed to be talking to you. And adapting.
Yeah.
I'm taking this time, like I mentioned before, like I'm using this time. It's weird as a sentence where, you know, when people come home, you're like, damn, Jeff home. You see him? He got swole. Man, he been working out. It was skin clear. He got his GED.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm coming out of this, like I told you, I got my little Serato. I'm trying to learn some new skills, Final Cut.
That's
But we can't waste this time, man, because you very rarely get a reset on life in a generation. So I'm looking in the positive. I'm trying to do the positive outlook. How about yourself?
Listen, it's the same thing. You go from, I have mastered the art of videography and streaming and OBS and Streamlabs and different social platforms. The funny thing for me is I have taken this kind of like when I first started, like you're learning things. And it's been a minute, since you had to really jump in and learn things. Now, you are pretty much everything. You're the person who shoots the content. You're the person who creates the content. You're the person who makes the content.
Think about that.
But it's very similar to when you first started, having to set your equipment up and fix your equipment and splice your wires and change the tweeter.
You carry crates all over again.
All over. So, that's pretty much the way that I kind of embraced it. That, I kind of looked at it like, when we first started out, we were hunters and fishermen. And you kind of got to a point that somebody started doing the hunting for you and somebody started bringing you your fish. And all this is your natural instinct has to kick back in, and you realize that sometimes I got to grab my spear and I got to grab my fishing rod and do it for myself.
See, that's why I fuck with you, man. I ain't never heard it said like that, man. That makes so much sense. That you that's the nail on the head. Cause it's like a reset. It's like whatever you knew before. Like if you were operating the same way pre-COVID and post-COVID, you're doing it all wrong because the game has changed. The game has changed
Completely.
So how will you?
It's for a reason too. I think, getting a little bit deeper, this to me was a reset that probably was needed. It probably wasn't wanted by a lot of people, but, from a pollution aspect to, just listen, I got a lot of land. I'm seeing shit on my property that I ain't never seen before because we're not out there. It's animals.
You're right, Jeff. I ain't think about that. So they like, man, all those dumb humans are gone. We can have our shit back.
We good. But so I think it's supposed to happen. So I'm trying to take that.
It's like a natural cleanse. It's like Mother Nature cleansing. It's the cleanse that was needed.
Yeah.
In another gross story, I was just reading that downtown that like the rats, like in high concentrated areas of people, they are going crazy because there's no food. So they are like venturing up in buildings trying to find food.
Oh man.
And they're dying. They're dying. They're starving to death because there's no food. There's no restaurants open.
Yeah. I mean,
So to your point,
it's a reset. Like that's how I kind of look at it. I think you know, especially in light of everything that's going on in the world, especially in the United States. When all of this stuff happened, everybody kind of claimed 2020 as the year of the negative. And I started to kind of look and like, wow, 2020 is going to go down as the year of change, you know? So
no doubt.
it's, you know, it might not be the change that we don't like the taste of that change, but the medicine is going to definitely help us for the future.
No doubt. I mean, that's those are facts. I think one question that I was as you were talking and you was dropping them jewels, I know that a lot of people lean on you, man. You like our Yoda. But how are people staying creative? Like, how are you staying creative? And like, what are some of the anxieties that other artists have probably hit you with, or asked you about during this time?
You know, interesting for me. One of the
And I
things,
mean Yoda in a loving way.
yes.
I meant the cool Yoda with the hat. You know what I mean?
Interesting to me. One of the things that I have watched is I'm watching people handle all of this in a sense of hope and not necessarily in a sense of reality. And that is because I think once all of this stuff happened, it was so jarring and so crazy that I looked, and the sense of hope was kind of like, wow, you know, a couple of months, us being locked down, we're going to go back to normal. After I got sick, the sense of reality came, is that we are probably going to be in this bubble state for at least a year. And when it goes back, it's never going to look like it looked before. And I think what happens is having to have those tough conversations with people that think 4th of July is about to be popping like it was popping last year is a awakening to some people that is kind of like, man, 4th of July might not be popping next year. Like, you know, the everything has changed. So just trying to get people to kind of look at that, like, yo, if we are going to be here for the next year, what does your creativity look like? You can't put it on hold. You have to alter it. This goes back to you being a fisherman and a hunter. You know, all of us started this by ourselves. Unless you was in a band, pretty much we started this by ourselves. So you almost have to use those same resources, you know, that there were some people that weren't recording themselves. There were some people that always looked for someone else to do something, that it's kind of like you may have to pick up a computer and put a couple programs on that computer and a camera and start taking matters into your own hands, especially if we're going to be here for a minute.
Man, shoot, you said it. I think at first, again, like it was just figuring it out. It was like, what is it? Like I was being extra cautious. And again, like I said, you were the first, like a one or two, like I had a high school buddy that actually had it. And I think some of the things that, you know, Black people pride themselves on is being survivors and being able to overcome things. And we don't scare easy, especially some shit we don't see. Like if we ain't see it, it's gotta really come up on us. But then when it kind of hit close to home, so I was like, okay, this, because there was some rumors going around like, yeah, you know, Black people got it. You know what I mean?
Listen, I heard all of the rumors.
You know,
and it's not this, it's not that. Like I said, there is no greater teacher than experience. So me laying up, not knowing who I am, not remembering anything, can't sleep, you know, not eating, can't taste nothing, can't hear nothing. You know, my breathing was jacked up, you know, for a good 2 weeks. You know, once I kind of came out of that, there was no question in my mind that this shit was extremely real, you know. And then, you know, at the same time, it's a little crazy laying in the bed and you're sicker than you've ever been, and you're watching CNN and watching the death toll rise, that you can't help but to make that creep into your brain. Like, listen,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for my wife, I honestly believe that I would not be here, because I had maybe 2 or 3 moments that I really, I looked and was like, shit, I've done a whole lot. I've been a whole lot. I
Oh
cannot believe
man.
this is how I'm going out. Like, I'm supposed to be 80 years old with grandkids around my bed.
Hmm.
But every time I started going down that path, even in a thought, somehow she walked into the room and looked in my face and was
Hmm.
like, nope, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Hmm.
And
Right,
it kind of pulled
man.
out. But it's kind of like, you know, never having been that sick, I was one of the first people like, listen, I'm getting on the phone and I'm calling everybody to just let them know this shit is real,
Yo,
real, real.
but that's who you are. I mean, I don't know if you know, but when people heard from you, it was like it resonated, it hit home. And I think that's something that you, I mean, we met many years ago, but I quickly after we met, I realized that you were a very selfless person, and you like to share information. Like, in this business, there's a lot of people that, there's a lot of gatekeepers. And there's a lot of people that get off on being gatekeepers and they don't share information. And I think, I mean, I don't know what that is, but you're not one of those people. And I don't know if you know, but the playlist retreat, which is, for whoever's viewing this, it's a retreat that Jeff, started at his home. First of all, just invite mofos to your house, to stay at your house, literally stay at your house, and to give them knowledge and information. I don't know if you envision it becoming this thing, but I was like, this shit is rare in any field. Like,
Yes.
nobody does this. Nobody does this. But this is how it should be. And the things that spawn out from that, like I met
Yep.
Stro there,
Yep.
Masego, like I met people. I'm not even a creator, but I met people. I'm in there like jaw dropping, but I'm seeing them like at this park, that in this environment that you created. But I say all that to say, what I've learned from you is that what just solidify that knowledge sharing is the one way that we can get out of whatever situation, and it just brings things home. And I guess what made you, because you don't have to do this, like I know you don't have to do this, but what made you feel like the game and how the music industry changed, that you felt like you had to give it back?
Well, I have always had an issue with the music industry, quote unquote.
Hmm.
And just the structure just never made sense to me. And it's kind of like that whole thing when you keep making the same mistake over and over and over again. After a while, it starts to become your fault. And it was
Hmm.
kind of like I was trying to make it be something it wasn't. And I kept bumping my head to the point that it was kind of like, accept it for what it is and figure out how you can try to make a change. One of the
Hmm.
things that I realized is with creatives, and I've always said this, to me, I've seen people make records without a record company. I've never seen a record company make records without an artist.
Bars,
So we have
bars.
a level of control that we're not actually taking. I think the advent of social media made me understand that the gatekeepers that you talk about, you could make the music, you have to give it to the gatekeeper, and the gatekeeper opens the door up to give it to the public. Once we got social media, you had a direct line to your public,
Right.
and you did not necessarily need the gatekeepers. So what I appreciated was how people started having dialogue with their fan base and not necessarily having to go around. It was a level of control that we started to take back, that it's been growing and growing and growing, because people realized that, I live in a time now, listen, it cost me $200,000 to make a record in 1986. You know what I mean? I got a laptop. I can do everything that I want, from making the music to shoot my own video and delivering it to my fan base with no middleman. And I
Direct to
think it
consumer.
was just one of those things that I started to feel like, well, if you got if you have the producer, the guy who makes the music, if you have the singer, songwriter, or rapper who performs the music, and you have the DJ who plays the music, what's missing?
Right.
That's the whole ecosystem. And it really became a thing of the more creatives that you meet, the more producers and songwriters, the more DJs, the more singers and rappers that you can kind of create this big world. You don't need anything, and when you look at the theme of playlists, you have everybody, every instrumentalist that you could ever imagine is at your fingertips, that you don't need anything. And that's all it is. You're trying to build a community that not only can we build our own houses, we can grow our own food, and you can support yourself completely independent from the industry, especially until the industry kind of understands that you really need artists to make this shit work.
Jeff, this shit is, it's happening, right? Like, it is happening. Like you said the other time we talked, you said, I knew the revolution. What you say? I knew the revolution was coming, but I didn't think I was gonna be alive to witness it.
At all.
It's happening because the people are questioning these record companies, these contracts, the use of them, especially how Black people have been disenfranchised throughout time, when it comes to budgets, a whole myriad of things, and it is really happening. And you had the vision, but the people were saying this before. Prince was saying this before.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Yeah, people say this don't make sense. This don't make sense, and we have the power.
And it's not, and it's not fair. It's not fair. I would always use this analogy that when we signed our first record deal and I came home and told my mom was extremely—
You and what's his face?
Me and Will.
I'm just
and I came home and told my mom, and my mom said, "That's great. How much are you making at your job?" And I paused and I was like, "Hold up. Let me find out." So I'm like, "Okay, how much am I making? Okay, you tell me that if somebody, if I pay you $100 and you got to split it with one other person, I know I'm making $50. If you tell me I'm making $10 an hour and I work 5 hours, I'm making $50. If you tell me I'm getting 7 points, I don't understand what a point is equivalent to." And once I started asking those questions, I was deemed a troublemaker.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like,
but I think so too.
Yeah, it was, I just didn't understand, because I'm like, I'm trying to let my mom know how much money am I making at my job. And then it's also kind of weird that I'm like, shit, I got a job and don't even know how much money I'm making. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You give me a check and you tell me I got to pay it back at some exorbitant amount interest rate. And, it's always been screwed. And I think, like you said,
but
now, this all needs to be added in to, social reform, police brutality, just the way that we've been treated. But I'm kind of like, listen, to the music industry or the record companies, I don't want $100 million donation to Black Lives Matter. What you need to do is go in the
vault, my shit back,
and give people their contracts back. You have been taking money, for years on end. I told you we're going through a thing now with all of the DJs trying to stream online, and they're getting cut off because the publishers want money. And it's kind of like, you got all the money. Like, you want to stop people from basically streaming as essential workers to keep people sane at a time that they've been stuck in the house. You know what I mean? And I'm kind of like, yo, like, something's not right. Somebody's got to sit at a table, and we need to have some level of conversation to fix this.
You know what I think too? I think that when you talk about points though, I think that the system is not broken. I think the system is exactly how they want it to be.
Absolutely.
It is meant to confuse and all this. Look at the birdie over here, and don't look
Yes.
at this. And it's meant to. And that's why I let me tell you something from a sound exchange perspective. When I talk to anybody of you from that you sent to me or that knows me through you or the playlist retreat, I use layman terms. Fortunately, what the law, the statutory license we administer is pretty simple. Like it's streaming, non-interactive revenue. So
Yep.
you don't have to be a lawyer to figure that out. And it's per play, so it ain't no census. But I try to make it real digestible for them so they can get it. I'm like, you can do this on your own, or you can get your lawyer. I recommend that, but this ain't hard.
Yes.
This ain't hard to do. This is your money. This is law. This is your money. So I do think that it's designed to be that way, but I think I'm stop saying that the system is broken, because these systems, whether it's criminal justice or the way to
But they're not broken.
yeah, that's how they meant this shit to be like this.
Yeah, they're not broken. They're one-sided.
Yeah, we need to break it.
Yes. Yes.
That's what needs to happen.
And I think that's happening. That's happening right now. I think we just cannot afford to take our foot off of the gas.
That's what I was about to say, Jeff. I was like, I got this anxiety, man. I'm like, I know, like I was saying, I know this is a moment. Sometimes history happens. You look, like I was saying the other day, you look at something happens and you look back and like, damn, that was historic. But then there's those times where you like, oh shit, this is happening right now. We are in it. I just don't. The anxiety I have is like, I don't want to be disappointed. Don't take your foot off the gas.
No.
Let's just stay on it. Don't let up. Which is why these protests is like day 24.
Yeah.
Like this is the perfect storm. This is that cleanse you was talking about. People ain't at home. They ain't got nothing but to do but disrupt the system.
Yes. Yes. This is. This is the perfect time.
Man. I ain't gonna keep you, man. I know I gotta run and stuff, but I want to talk about real quick. I mean, if you want to talk about, man, I watched you. I got a call, a text from Rashid, and he was like, "Man, Jeff is spinning. He is killing it, but he's sitting down." I was like looking for it. He's like, he's sitting down, and I turned it on. I don't know where I caught it in, but that set you did. I don't know what day it was. You remember which one I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was pretty much after the whole George Floyd and the killing. It got to a point that I wasn't going to play. It did not feel right for me to play, because it was really one of those things that I'm playing music to create some level of joy for people who are stuck in the house. And at that moment, I didn't have any joy to give. And I was going to not play. And my wife started playing music in the house. She played a Donny Hathaway song and I listened to it and I was like, this is incredible. I was like, you know what? I think I want to just sign on, play this and sign off. And she was like, well, you can't just play one song. Like, why don't you play music that reflects what's going on right now? And we sat down and I put together some stuff. She gave me a bunch of suggestions. I got on the phone and called Stro and just a couple of people. And it was literally not to be made as a quote unquote DJ set. I never opened my mouth. I sat down and I played all of these songs. And it was crazy because the first record I played was Donny Hathaway's Someday We'll All Be Free. And I broke down. I could not stop crying.
Man,
I'm listening to a record that's almost 50 years old and it sounds like he made it yesterday. And the first thing that came to my mind is just like, wow, like if Donny was still here, how would he feel to know that shit is just the same? Like, I'm covering a 60-year time span of music that is speaking to exactly what is happening right now.
Bro, it was like amazing that you were speaking through music. You were really speaking to the people through music, and it was curated. I don't even know to say perfectly or is the right word. I don't even know if that's a good thing, that those records are timeless. I don't want to hear that shit anymore. But it was
Yeah.
just, it showed the fucked upness of it all.
Yes.
That those songs were still relevant in 2020.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do that again.
Listen, I hope I never have to do that again.
Right. I know.
One of the things that I said is that wasn't a set that I wanted to play. That was a set I had to play. So, hopefully 2020 will be the end of that too. So
hopefully, man. Yeah. Prayers up to all the brothers out there in the struggle. We all got to do our part. But look, I ain't going to keep you, man. Tell everybody over there I said hello, especially my man Remix.
Yeah, man. Likewise.
All right, brother, man. You stay safe, man. Anything you need, man, just hit me. Always. I got you.
Same here.
All right, John.
All right, man.